Today we're going to be talking about the 10 principles of possession. Now when we discuss these 10 principles, you'll see they're numbered 1 through 10. This isn't a ranking. It doesn't mean 1, 2, and 3 are more important than 4 through 10. This is not a decision to make. It's not a matter of are we going to play slow build-up soccer today or are we going to be playing quick counterattacking. This is not a matter of going into games and saying today we're going to do numbers 1, 3, 7, 8, and 9. This is an all-in. This is a way of life for us. As part of the game, we need to follow all 10 principles of possession all the time. Your players need to understand all 10 of these, understand how to do them technically, understand their impact tactically, and realize that this is just simply the way you play soccer. The first principle of possession is team shape. In its simplest terms, what we're talking about is maximizing the amount of the field we're using for possession. By using a larger portion of the field, we're requiring the defense to defend a larger portion of the field. The way we do this, to start off with, are number 9. We want them pressing high. We want them stretching that defensive line, forcing the defense farther up the field. This creates more room in the midfield. We want our 7 and 11 playing wide, stretching the width of the field. And the same thing with our 2 and 3, stretching the field wider. We want our back 4 dropping off to give us depth and possession. If we can expand the area of the field that the defense has to account for, that's going to expand the area they have to cover. This will present them with a dilemma that they have to ask themselves. Do they concede areas wide? Do they allow us to play safely in the back? Or do they truly cover the entire field? As they stretch to cover the entire field, this opens up space in the midfield to play. Now, if we move to a 7v7, 9v9 formation, as we play at U9 through U12, the same principles apply. Now, in the diagram here, we're looking at 8v8, but you'll get the idea. We still want our number 9 stretching that defense. Whether you call them a 2 or 7 or 3 or 11, we want our wide players staying wide. We want our 4 and our 5 dropping off to create depth in our possession. Again, the goal is to get the defense to have to defend as much area as possible. The second principle we're going to discuss is peeling off and opening our body to the field. What we're talking about here in simplest terms is when you receive the ball, giving yourself as many options as possible. If we take a look at our number 9 in the picture here, the little grayed out outline, where they've got their back to goal. When they receive the ball, pressure on the back, the options they have are playing backwards. So immediately upon receiving the ball, they're looking to play negative. Conversely, if they open up, that allows them to play an attacking ball to goal. They can still play possession passes, or they can drop back and support again. It gives them a lot more options. So what we're looking to do is get the players, when they are looking to receive the ball, to do so with an open shape. We'll talk a little bit later about diagonal passes, but with straight passes, obviously it's very difficult to create those opportunities. So we're looking for players to open up for diagonal passes where they can play in more directions. Now obviously this is one of those that is sometimes easier said than done. We simply tell the player open up. Well, if we take our number 9 here and we have them open up, if they are marked by a defender, in many ways when they receive the ball, they're gifting that ball to the defender. They're showing the ball to the defender. So we understand that there's going to be times where you have to receive it, you have to shield it with your back to goal. It's going to happen. But what we're looking for here is to get players to understand the value of being able to receive the ball while seeing the goal. So if we can receive a ball opened up where we can see the goal, over here opened up where we can see the goal. So to put this into practice a little more, maybe this ball where the attacker, the number 9, receives it with his back to goal, maybe that has to happen sometimes. But what we want players to realize is that we are still trying to create and receive the ball opened up. So now where does that next ball go to? Can we hit that player facing the goal? Can we have a check-in where we can hit them facing goal? Can we receive the ball opened up with options to goal? Can we make runs that allow us to receive the ball with our body shape open to the field? The third area we're going to discuss is bending runs. This is going to be a recurring theme throughout this discussion as we talk about passing angles. With the straight pass, again, we have a attacker who is marked facing away from goal. So as they receive, they have limited options. The options they do have are backwards. By opening up, as we discussed in the previous principle, we can create an opportunity where they can see goal and they can see backwards. As they make this run, if they bend that run, that is going to draw the defender away from the passing lane. It also, as they're receiving, creates a better passing angle to receive. So we're coming at a diagonal instead of running directly away from the ball, which is a very difficult pass to complete and put in. From a wide position, we see the same thing. Rather than receiving the ball again, looking to play backwards, by opening up and bending our run, we get wider, provide more width to the field, and again, we are drawing this defender as far away from possible from that passing lane. As the pass is delivered, again, our passing angle is much better from a diagonal than making a straight run away from the pass. So the fourth principle we're going to discuss is runs triggering other runs, or as it's listed here also, awareness of surrounding. Now, one of the things I talk to my players about on my teams is if at a given moment, if we can freeze the game and take a look at that picture and say, with where we're at, what do we need to do? Where can we provide support? Now, in this example here, the number 3 has the ball. We have plenty of good passing opportunities, good support opportunities. We have players providing us width and depth in our attack. So they're set up very well. Now, when I talk to my players, what I talk about is every time the ball moves, every time a player moves, that picture changes. So this is a scenario here. When the 3 plays the ball to the 11, this picture changes. Now we look at, do we have the proper support angles? Looking at the moment, we have good support, but where are our forward options? Where are our attacking options? Now in this scenario here, the number 9 checks into space to support the 11. What we're talking about now is as that player moves, the pictures change. What other opportunities that maybe were not there before open up now that that player has moved? So if we put a defender in here on the 9, as the 9 checks into space, if they receive the ball, if that defender stays home, now we have a free player and the opportunity to play to a run. So this run here has created this run. Conversely, if this defender tracks with the 9, that is going to open up this space. So as the 9 makes this run, this opens up space for the 10 to run into. 9's checking creates 10's attacking run, which now gives us that opportunity for attack. We've already hinted on diagonal passes a couple times already when we're discussing these principles. But principle 5 is simply diagonal passes. And what we're talking about here is the straight pass up the field. Provides penetration. But what we end up with is an attacker usually facing their own goal, under pressure, looking to play negatively. By opening up, we accomplish several things. Number 1, we are still getting our penetration. We are switching the point of attack, and we are putting our attacker in a position where they have options to play an attacking ball, a supporting ball, or to play back to maintain possession. Now, to some extent, we can also create this diagonal pass by having a player get wide, and as they draw the defender, they can make a diagonal run into a straight pass and still give us a lot of the same benefits. We're not really changing the point of attack, but by moving wide, we may create space that we can play into. But when we're looking at these passes, what we're looking at is every pass should have a diagonal component. whether it is a diagonal pass to a straight run, or a straight pass to a diagonal run, or even a diagonal pass to a diagonal run. But having the diagonal component to it is vital when you're looking at the principles of possession. Now, principle 6 is every pass back is followed by a switch. Now, I will highlight the word every. Virtually every pass should be followed by a switch. What we are looking at here is think about why we do a pass back. Why are we passing the ball back instead of moving laterally or forward? Well, the reason is because we have significant defensive pressure. There's nowhere to play forward. So typically when you're playing back, you're telling your team, we can't go forward here. And if we can't go forward here, as the ball comes back, can we find another avenue of attack where there's less pressure? Now, will there be exceptions to this? Yes. A pass back could be part of a combination play to go forward. It could be a pass back where we're now going to bypass the midfield and play over the top a little bit. There are reasons and times where you will pass back and then stay on that side. But as a general rule, realize that the pass back typically tells you that it's busy there, that there's a lot of pressure. This is not an area we can attack. So when we pass back, we look to switch where there's less defensive pressure. Now, we discussed previously the concept that I use of pitchers. If you freeze the game at a given moment and take a look at what is available to us. More importantly, we want to look at what does the defense have to do in that given moment. Where do they need to apply pressure? Where do they need to be supporting? Where's the coverage? What are the attacking opportunities that we have that they're trying to take away? Now, every time that ball moves, the pitcher changes and the defense has to adjust. And the ball moves and the defense has to adjust. If we keep the ball there and give them enough time, eventually the defense gets set up. Eventually they apply the pressure they want to apply. They take away the passing angles. If we give them enough time, they will defend successfully. So the goal is to keep that ball moving. Constantly keep the ball moving around. Every time that ball moves, they have to adjust, and they have to adjust. And we never let the defense get set up and settled in. So keeping the ball moving, keeping the ball from being in one area for too long, allows us to continuously have attacking opportunities because the defense can't get set up. So the eighth principle of possession is keepers should distribute the balls and try to avoid the long punts. Now, many of you will be familiar with the concept of first attacker, second attacker, third attacker, or else all you should be familiar with the concept. Some may not be familiar with that terminology. What we look for is the first attacker being the player on the ball. The second attacker are all the players that are providing supporting options. And the third attackers give us width in attack, they give us depth in attack, and they create those attacking runs. Now, what I teach my players is when addressing the first attacker, the player with the ball, you should ask yourself a series of questions. Now, obviously, you can't, in a game, seriously go through these one by one and answer them. But think about the thought process of when I have the ball. The first question I will always ask is, can I score? If I can take a shot and score, that's what I want to do. That's always the best result. If I cannot score, that opportunity is not there for me. The second thing I look for is, can somebody else on my team score? Is there somebody I can pass to that will have an immediate opportunity to put the ball on net? If neither of those exist, the third thing I look for is, can I advance the ball downfield? Can I get us closer to the goal? If I can't do any of those, the fourth thing I look for is, can I maintain possession? Can I get my team to hold the ball? And if I can't do any of those, the fifth thing I'd look at is, can I do something safe with it? Can I avoid giving the ball away to the defense or the opposing team in an area where they can hurt us? So those are the series of questions we go through rapidly in our mind. Now back to this, when the keeper has the ball in their hands, we want to stress to them that you are the first attacker. Our team is on attack. We have the ball. We want to create a goal scoring opportunity. And right now, what we do from here, it's in your hands. Okay. So we want them to go through those same questions. Now, of course, with the keeper, the answer to the first question should always be no, unless they've made an attacking run past midfield. So we now look at the second one. When the keeper has the ball in their hands, the first thing we will look for is there somebody on my team I can give the ball to that they can go score? Do we have our number 9 matched up 1v1 against a defender? Okay, well, maybe I want to give him the ball and give that a shot. Let's go play a 1v1 and see what happens. If that's not available, Now we look at, can I move the ball downfield? Are my midfielders open? Can I hit a midfielder with a throw or a controlled kick where we can control possession? If that's not an option, can we maintain possession? Can I play out to my backs and let us begin our attack? The final one, of course, number 5 is, if none of those are available, can I do something safe? Now, the keeper has a luxury that field players don't. You know, when a player decides to do something safe, I'm going to kick it downfield, I'm going to put it out of bounds. The reason they're doing that is because it's decision time. They're under pressure. They have a defender on them. They have to do something now. And if none of the positive things are available, I'm just going to do something safe. When the goalkeeper has the ball in their hands, they don't have that pressure. So more than frequently, the goalkeeper should be able to find a player with an opportunity to score, a player down the field, or someone that allows us to keep possession. And that's the mindset we want to get with our keepers. The ninth principle is using throw-ins to switch the point of attack. Now this is very similar to number 6, where we talked about a pass back triggers a switch. And the reason for that, again, is with a pass back, the reason we are passing back is because of defensive pressure in that area. So rather than playing back into that pressure, we can switch and attack where there's less opposition. Now the same principle applies on a throw-in. When there's a throw-in, the defense is very well aware of what our throwing range is. They understand where that ball is going to go in a very limited area. So what we will typically see is a strong defensive presence around the throw-in. So rather than trying to throw the ball in and play into that pressure, we should be looking to throw it in and switch to where we're going to see less opposition. So the final principle, not the least important, but the last one, is principle 10, which is speed of play. And we've talked before about how when the ball moves, the defense has to adjust, the defense has to reorganize. If we give them enough time, they will be able to successfully defend. They'll be able to get set up in a way that is very difficult to penetrate. So by keeping the ball moving, constantly creating new angles of attack, we prevent the defense from getting settled in and getting organized. So when we're talking about speed of play, we're talking 1 and 2 touch passings. Keep that ball moving, keep the defense constantly guessing and reorganizing.